Ghana, a West African country located on the Gulf of Guinea, is blessed with many natural resources like cocoa, gold, diamond, rubber, salt, limestone, natural gas, fish, bauxite, and many more. Parts of its lands are favored for cultivation. The western region can be located in the southwestern part of Ghana, which covers an area of approximately 23,921 square kilometers, which is about 10% of Ghana's total land area. The region has about 75% of its vegetation within the high forest zone of Ghana. It has an average rainfall of 1,600 millimeters per annum. The region also has 24 forest reserves, which account for about 40% of the forest reserves in the country. The region is endowed with considerable natural resources, which give it a significant economic importance within the context of national development. It is the largest producer of cocoa, rubber, coconut, and one of the major producers of oil palm. It has 4 major occupations, with agriculture as the major industrial activity, which includes fishing, forestry, and hunting. Both agriculture and industry feature prominently in the region's economic activities and influence the demographic complexities of the various districts. Agriculture, excluding fishing, remains the biggest industrial activity in the region, employing more than 50% of workers in all districts except Jomoro. Recent oil exploration and production along the coast of Ghana's western region is accelerating the conversion of agricultural lands to industrial and commercial uses, particularly for siting large oil and gas facilities and related housing infrastructure. Research conducted by Tractor and Hempuano within the 6 coastal districts, Shama, Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Area, Ahanta West, Nzima East, Elembele, and Jomoro, has revealed that agricultural landscapes are rapidly giving way to industrial uses as a result of leasing agreements negotiated between chiefs, family heads, and landowners on one hand and private companies on the other.
Ahina hembenkocha wasenwa we ahina efiga dulko ina media na solman na so waye ma dedama obesire na medidi olman na so waye ma dedama ona na madrusha meye na moframa ada ne Saturday ya ana da Saturday ya na grade bogum mu ofia na wokan de membra ha na grade da me ha benu mo rese no me ba ya mpa so na grade da ha benu mo rese na mpa ahina we ahina ya media we wo bia hona wo hwe abe wasenwa Pasompo won fa mam abe wa sen he pasompo me sankan atana me kaka wa kompe furu ho ansana wa hwa inu ina ya sama ade amede hwa me na mo from anka kra kra wo fie ti se wa mo from wo school fees be si na metumetua ntumi mo from wo school fees nti wo mo modin na won bo ahen
Pocho midin de osaji fu we Steven na mo ro kono on koye kra we kwafo wa fam kwa Nisi ntini de fine oyele aba Ghana enim de oyele wa abe oyade papa oye mfaso ma mani nara na mo oye na aba ye musu ama Hunter West sentini de hwe companies bebre ebubu Hunter West ha wori enjuma fine ye bia pampuntu obi anu waso adena on pampuntu obi a pampuntu efuma company wa ban yenim de o baba ja asase na asase bia so nyoma wodo dem company o de he oboju he na ya men chade oye Philfab company wa ba ha oye and gas wo ye dem nyoma no adwuma masa dakuma ba ya na ma hu de feel na wale ya no na tibi yad na ole ba pond ni mu na mko kwante dem kati masa wo adwuma na wale ya no wa ye wa hawo me fish pond nana me ye med na me didum ya bibia mka se ma ka dis almost 200 million oye 20,000 Ghana cedis me ka se me da ye de adwuma na me so wa hu nti wo sha se da wo to won e bo da wa to ayi wo bu ha de wo hu bibia won pro be se me yi no nti wo to amanati no ya na ombe masa feeling wa ya wo dia kono ho nti da kun su toe me be yo na chide enam na ade wo nsumi na wewu me kese up to now or ko 2 years adwuma scam da sha ade mu me ye ni mutanpo bebe am ka gi loans ade china de say wo kamado aye pun mu gwan aye mo school na wo de kala aba wo ba gi ska ade na wa say da ko ma wa wo be wo bo hwe hu de o mo pon ni na wa say guy like me my interested in farming activities. I'm also helping the development of this country. Massa, is the Hunter West district have no future? No, because no farmers, no future. So I'm telling you people that Hunter West has no future because sooner or later, all the farmers in this community, their crops will be destroyed.
Over the last half decade, estimated 25,000 acres of arable land have been lost to oil-related infrastructure development, including siting of quarries and sand and gravel extraction for the construction of industry.
We are an NGO and then we are a farmer-based organization. That means that we deal with a lot of farmers-based organization, and we try as much as possible to work with farmers and anything related to farming and agriculture. Because of our relationship with the farmers and farmer-based organization in the western region, in the central region, and the farmers along the 6 coastal district, that is Shama, STMA, Ahanta West, and Zama East, Jomolo, and Elembele, came out with a voice and been complaining to us that, okay, with the onset of the oil find, they have a lot of their lands being taken and then being sold to the oil and gas companies, to the real estate owners, to the quarry and stone gravel, so that they don't have a land now to farm. And the people in Ahanta West most especially complain that they only plant cassava at their backyard, which now is also becoming difficult.
Kopin wa bo du assassin na lanche ye be ya sabanche ni e be pu akade ye du ban na mo fo ebu edi ise kwam de yes ka je mo frama nti mo abana ba no on ya mayen ise ye nu abere on bo ayen ye be ya sabanche ise wa ya ban nsun so ta nsun na no da wa nsun.
So for them to do an agricultural activity that will earn them a living, getting the land is difficult.
Titan work baby, Nachina, if you mamma have been caca. Chimbo. Timoquena, Sabu, Mina, Cacamaybe, Baya, Mabaya, a chair broke and will be a count. Tia, are you funeral or concern? None one would not cheer. I catch you for a chino, one come, and so I best say I'll be well too. I've been here with Addy, marking Yada. Assassinate wa muhima muhwehwe benyini ano so wako nti waka haka kera aka muhwe miyada.
The oil palm farmers also come to us and say that now the oil palm plantation have been sold and then they have to be cut down. They don't have any means of getting sources of income, and they came to us with these issues and then with this cry, and we look at what can we do. The only thing we can do is we can't go and tell the chiefs or the assembly or the people selling the land to stop selling the land. This is far beyond our capacity. All we need to do is to advocate for this in order to ensure food security.
In Shama alone, about 2,104 acres of arable land, representing 39% of existing natural areas, have so far been cleared by operators of quarries, sand and gravel extraction, and other forms of mining companies.
Now, when we talk about this land grabbing issue, in fact, it's something dear to the heart of mostly people living in the Western region, especially even those of us who are working with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It has a tool effect really on the land that we are working on, especially when we talk about agric. Let me take agric first. When you look at it for the grabbing of land, especially from here to Agronkwanta, from Takoradi to Agronkwanta, on the left on your right, you see a lot of industry springing, taking up arable land, which is supposed to be used for cropping. And the landowners have sold all these things, and it is making cropping of non-effect. If I say of non-effect, that means the lands have been used for industrial purposes, and everything that is supposed to be agric has been relegated to the background, and which is not one of the things that is supposed to happen in the Western region, because the Western region is an area which have a lot of rainfall which we can use to do cropping, because agriculture in the Western region or even in the country is rain-fed, and Western region have enough rains to cater for such cropping, and these are the lands that has been grabbed by the foreigners.
Our research also revealed that over 2,334 acres of primarily agricultural lands have been earmarked as free zones and oil and gas enclaves in Shama alone, pending development.
We want a region and a community whereby all of us living in the community can get access to food. So all those issues we look at it, I said, okay, let's come up with an advocacy action for us to see how we can advocate for this issue so that it can be resolved. If not resolved, it should be managed.
Young farmers association. Say ebinum po ba no wakade yam form association sisi ebinum po be mo your form association from solidarity that I want to work aba okoye aba nti sisi yam farmers yani association nti so bandam na woton asase no kofo woton wona asase na say kofo wato asase no wo be yedu eduma no o de ka wo yam farmers na yan wantina fom na ye kama ebo na mo besi mo abu no besi na nke negotiation why you final ayen yanti bidam onu ntina wa masisi ya asase de ye pede ye form association say yan form association na so banda ni individuals yentumo nko impa kro na ho edi no so a nti ye pede ye form association ama bibia no association na wo de ye tena fom na ma wo de ye no ye because sisi ala mo o tida American sisi ye mo from ade wo ba ya yo ho da chekra ahina mpo se nya me nye hina aduma ye hu yi a bebia be didi kwa ye nya sisi ya mo from aru ntumi hwan o sande ye nya ma ye di hu kakra kakra ye hwa from ano wa sese ni na.
I believe the traditional rulers, the landowners, should sit up and look into the future and think otherwise, and just not look at the money that they are going to get for the now, but look out for what our children going to eat in the near future. Go to the Nzima areas where the oil itself is booming, land is being grabbed left and right. Our leaders in the region have to, bring up mechanism, policies, strategies that are going to give us a place in the near future for our agric production and for this urbanization of real estate which is going on in the region.
When we went to the district assemblies, they have a special plan for each of the districts. They have a land earmarked for hospital. They have a land earmarked for schools. They have a land earmarked for industries. Now, if these industries are not there to use the land, the farmers can easily go there and start farming on the land.
We work with the special development framework. We have 3 categories that start from the national and then to the region, and then it's zeroed down to the district level. So whatever we are doing at the district level, we also have to look at the bigger picture from the region down to the national level. That is to say that if we are earmarking area for farming activities, we should also be mindful of that of the region and national to make sure that it doesn't alter with the arrangement. Our local, we call it local plan, that's the planning schemes. Of course, we have land uses. Of course, the mandate of town planning is to promote orderly and progressive development. Basically, that's what town planning is about. And then in the course of that, of course, there are areas that are earmarked for, I wouldn't call it farming activities per se, because ours is basically about the land uses. We talk of residential, commercial activities, schools, and what have you. So it is I think the bigger picture from the national that they look at. Okay, within Western region, probably if you look at the Northern Belt, about 70% of the farming activity is concentrated there. Then we'll probably zero it down to Jomoro. But coincidentally, Jomoro is a developing community. And for the local plans, we have covered almost about 30% of the land use, which means that we have about 70% left as green area, of which farming activities are prime there. Our mandate to regulate this activity will not go into the large scale farming as it were, because as I said earlier, town planning comes in when we anticipate development. That's where town planning comes in. But we are also here to ensure orderly and progressive development, of which, of course, farming activity is one of them.
One of our objectives is to make sure that all the community is linked up, is accessible through road. And you know, wherever there is food, you need to bring it to town or to the community or to the market. And you can only do that through road. So it's one of our core objectives to link all the communities. All the community will be accessible so that they will never leave food there in the farm to rot. And because of the coming of this oil, almost all the land anywhere, especially by the roadside, everybody want to acquire land. So we look at how we are going to just conscientize the minds of the community that yes, it's good to have land, it's good to sell land because land is very precious now, the way land is appreciating now, but you have to also think about food.
Having access to food entails a lot. Looking at for areas that we're even going to cultivate our crop so that they will be available for on our tables. Looking out for those who are even going to go into the crop farm, into farming. Because of oil, most of the people are going for white collar jobs. They are leaving the land. They don't want to work on the land. How secure are we when we talk about food security? Western region, we don't have much of the food deficient, with the exception of some few, which we are also potential in development, especially when we talk about rice.
Construction of large oil and gas facilities in the 6 coastal districts of the Western region is rapidly taking over agricultural lands and exacerbating land tenure insecurity of farmers in these areas. Although district assemblies have the mandate to regulate land use and development, oil and gas private sector is driving major land acquisition and development decisions.
Western region is declared as 2 lands, but they are spot of family ownership and land administration, of course. So when it comes to 2, of course, it will be possible. The chief can one day decide that from behind the assembly down to there's a river, the Alashele, we are declaring that area as a family zone. Town planning can then go into earmark that area. That is where our regulation comes in, with the consent of the chief, because we work in tandem with the chiefs.
When you come to agric, once we have MOFA, I would recommend that with the assembly, they should come out with a program that will sensitize or educate the community as to the use of their land. We have a very vast land. If you look at Jomoro, our main product is cocoa, coconut, cassava, palm oil, and other crops. So everybody in this district can just get cassava at the back of his house. And it is something that, if you look at even the food in this district, our main food is produced through cassava and corn. So no matter how you want to get money out of selling your land, you still have to know that you eat, and there's no need for you to go elsewhere like searching for food. When you own your own, you can plant and then harvest the food in your district.
Recently, special and land use plans were completed for the 6 coastal districts to guide land use decision making and land allocation for different uses. Yet, chiefs and landowners readily give out large tracts of agricultural lands without regard to these special plans, especially when economically attractive land use options are available.
One of our objectives is to see the proper implementation of the special plan being done in the 6 coastal districts.
As an assembly, we should earmark a place that is agriculture prone areas, that this area, no matter how or no matter what, whoever want to buy this land will never sell it because of agric. If we do that and we make it a point at the technical committee and the statutory committee approve it, it becomes a law, so that we will never, no matter how we want to develop our district, yes, we have a place that we can farm there.
The question here is, are we getting the areas to work on rather than giving it out to the illegal miners who are destroying our land, who are degrading our land, which is going to have effect on our future? What are we going to eat?
In a long term, we can factor this into our scheme, because of course all the time there are expansion of planning schemes. So as and when we do the expansion, of course there should be ideas as to what to do, where to place here, what to so in the course of that, through the stakeholders, we can also factor these programs into our future plans.
The result is that majority of tenant and migrant farmers are being displaced, and access to secure land for farming is being undermined.
If a land is being earmarked for farming or for agricultural purpose, no matter what the situation is, it shouldn't be sold to any industry or real estate or for hospitals or for house. It should be left for agricultural purposes.
Population growth is displacing a lot of agricultural activities, increasing urbanization. And when I talk about urbanization, I mean people are moving from rural areas to the urban land, and when they come, the little that they get, they start putting up structures, pushing our crops, our arable croplands far.
These phenomena are deepening poverty and food insecurity within the farming communities at a time when cost of living in coastal western region is rising, and if unchecked may escalate the growing tension between oil and gas companies and affected communities.
This is a person that Abraham Abasu Boy, Sanya, project I'm was said, and you be a crack. Ede bo support we huna yatena Ghana mami
ngoda abana obo ahe sam nyanwe di am ye be sam papa onota asase wewu nti am nyanwe ni so na sa kufuma akwa no ebeyin papa wewu am na me ye be sia nti am nyanwe nti awon we penfu abe won na obobo nti papa obo ahe
Since a penny for the upper penny for Bema and or there, or more boy, because Okayan could there be a beer quashana of boy, until a penny for no or boy.
Me found 2 women now, so boy, dear. Now, a woman and buy a boy, Kakra. Then you say they are what to do.
I buy and share, say, I am Manua. Now, one also was some of Becatcher, and yet Manuswa will be who are some of Becatcher.
We want to continue with this advocacy, and we want to see how best we can make the farmers be aware that these are the lands earmarked for other purposes, and then these are the lands earmarked for agricultural purposes.